Hi everyone, I hope you enjoy this second video. It's going to be a little bit more of an intense practice than the first one, so please be safe and don't do anything that you don't feel comfortable doing. If there's certain poses that feel like you might not be doing them with quite proper alignment, or you're just not quite sure, then just modify in such a way that you're doing a little bit less, you're pushing yourself a little less hard, and you're making it an enjoyable experience and a safe one. If you have any questions, feel free to comment and I'll try to answer any questions that you might have. But as always with these kinds of online yoga situations, you want to just be as safe as you can for yourself, since I can't be in the room with you while you do your yoga. I hope you enjoy, and just so you know, I did post just the meditation part of the opening part of this yoga class at an earlier date. I think I posted it yesterday or the day before, and so that is a repeat video. If you did do that guided meditation, it was just pulled from this one while I worked out some of the kinks that arose during this the making of the yoga section of this video. So I hope you enjoy. And if you already did the meditation, then you're welcome to just do it for a second time. It's nice to send out even more loving kindness. And if you wanted to skip it, you could, but meditation at the beginning of your yoga practice is a good way to ground yourself before you get moving. If you have blocks, I would definitely grab them. If you don't have blocks, I would honestly recommend maybe investing in some for this period of time if you were planning on practicing regularly at home. They're not that much, and you can get them online, so you don't have to go outside to get them. And yeah, it'll just be a really good prop to have. Okay, so we're gonna get started. Um, Again, you can start in a seated position or you can start on your back, just like yesterday. We will probably start with movement on your back. So if you want to just start that way so you don't have to then make your way to your back, that's great. I'm going to start seated. In Virasana, that same shape I took before. And I do recommend, if you're seated, to lift your hips up in some way, right? To sit on your block or on a blanket or something else, right? This will allow your hips to be lifted so that you can more easily and comfortably lengthen through your spine, as well as allow the thighs to descend, right? This allows less of an intense crease in the hip and a little more comfort. All right, so whatever shape you're taking, let it be one that's comfortable. Right, if you're laying down, maybe you're grabbing a blanket to place under your head as a pillow, or even over your body if it's a little cool in your house or wherever you're practicing. All right, and we're just going to start to find slower, deeper breaths, right, in and out through your nose. And as you slow your breath, begin to invite in a observing mind. And even if the eyes are open, focus your attention on your breath, on the slow, full inhale, the expansion of the belly, the chest as you inhale, and the slower, deeper exhale, contraction of the belly, chest as you exhale. Observing, watching your breath. Noticing if your mind is wandering, thoughts, sensations in the body, emotions, right? Noticing anything that might be calling your attention. And just allowing that to be there, right? These things that you bring on your mat are allowed to be here, right? That doesn't give them power. They don't have to be running the show. They're not driving your attention, but they are here, right? You can stay present. You can continue to have a slow, full breath despite what else might be here. Distractions, sounds in your room that you're in, animals, right? Pets, whatever is here for you. It isn't going to go away just because you're trying to push it away, right? So just allowing it to be present while you stay present with your breath. I'm going to do some meditation, some loving kindness meditation practice. So what this means is that we'll be repeating a mantra over and over again, right? A little phrase. And we're going to send that phrase out to different people. Right? So first I want you to call to mind someone, or maybe a pet, right? Someone that is easy to love. Right? Maybe a small child, a pet, right? Someone that's super easy to love. Let that person fill your consciousness, the image of the person, the feeling that you have when you're around them, right? Their presence here with you on this mat. And then send out this wish for them. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you be filled with ease. May you be free from suffering. And you're just repeating those phrases. I'll repeat them for you too. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you be filled with ease. May you be free from suffering. If you want to change any of those phrases or make it your own in some way, or if you're having a little trouble remembering them all, that's okay. I'll keep repeating them. But really the point is just to send out this kind of general message, right, to this person, this being that's easy to love. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you be filled with ease. May you be free from suffering. Now calling to mind a neutral person, right? Someone in your life who you may not know very well. Maybe you don't know their name, but you interact with them in some way. And it could be your librarian or the postman, right? The person who checks your items at the grocery store. And just someone you feel neutral about. You don't really feel that they're good or bad, they're just someone neutral in your life. And send this same message to that person. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you be filled with ease. May you be free from suffering. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you be filled with ease. May you be free from suffering. And repeating that wish out to that neutral person in your own head. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you be filled with ease. May you be free from suffering. Calling to mind now a person who challenges you, someone you might struggle with, right? You don't have the easiest relationship with them, maybe. Right? Bringing that person to mind and sending this same message. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you be filled with ease. May you be free from suffering. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you be filled with ease. May you be free from suffering. And then lastly, bringing yourself into the mind's eye. Sometimes it helps to imagine like the childhood version of yourself. Sometimes that's a little easier. But if you can imagine yourself here as you are on your mat, And that's great too, right? Just sending this message now to yourself. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I be filled with ease. May I be free from suffering. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I be filled with ease. May I be free from suffering. I'm calling to mind everyone that you've brought to mind, that person who's easy to love, that neutral person, that challenging person, and yourself. And repeat that same mantra. May we be happy. May we be healthy. May we be safe. May we be filled with ease. May we be free from suffering. May we be happy. May we be healthy. May we be safe. May we be filled with ease. May we be free from suffering. And sending that message out to all beings everywhere. May we be happy. May we be healthy. May we be safe. May we be filled with ease. May we be free from suffering. May all beings everywhere be happy. May all beings everywhere be healthy. May all beings everywhere be safe. May all beings everywhere be filled with ease. May all beings everywhere be free from suffering. May we all be happy. May we all be healthy. May we all be safe. May we all be filled with ease. May we all be free from suffering. You don't have to keep repeating the mantra. Maybe you just kind of send that feeling of loving kindness out to all the beings everywhere. And take your time. Maybe your eyes stay closed. Maybe you softly blink them open as you start to transition, if you're seated, to laying down on your mat. And if you're already laying down, go ahead and just stay there. We're moving slowly to your back, moving any props that might be on your mat out of the way so that you can lay flat on your back and then hug the knees into your chest. Perhaps you're rocking side to side. Perhaps you're circling the knees one direction, massaging the low back. And if it feels right, you can switch the direction of the knee circles, reversing that initial direction you took. And then just taking your time from there to roll over to your left side, right, so that you're laying in your fetal position on your left side using your left arm as a pillow. And your knees are hugged in nice and close, right? And you're using that arm as a pillow so that your head is fully supported. Right, we're just going to take a moment here to then grab on to the right ankle if you can reach it, and start to invite in a quad stretch here by sending that right knee down toward the front edge of your mat. Right, the bottom knee can stay bent for a little more balance and stability. Same as the arm underneath you staying bent for a little more balance or stability. Right? If you want to start to extend that bottom leg out, that will invite in a little bit more of a balance component here. Likewise, you can extend your bottom arm out. Right? This just increases a little bit of the challenge to your balance. If that feels like too much, then don't do it, right? Just bend the knee back and the arm back so that you can have a little bit more stability. Right? So you just do whatever feels best for your practice at this moment. Right? If you want less of a quad stretch and more of a shoulder opener, you can start to kick your foot into your hand. Sometimes when we do this, the knee likes to open up and away. And we don't want that to happen. We want to keep the knee safe by keeping your top knee in line with the other one, like it's almost about touching, right? Likewise, if you wanted a little more of a quad stretch and you feel like you're not feeling a whole lot there, you can start to bring this top right foot outside the right hip, like half virasana, to get a little more of that quad stretch instead. Right? You don't have to do that. It's just kind of wherever you're feeling like you're at and whatever would feel best in your body at this moment. All right, so from here we're going to transition back to that fetal position with the knees stacked, and then we're going to extend this bottom arm, the left arm, out and stack the right arm on top of the left, right? Like you're sandwiching the hands before you start to extend the right arm past, right? We want to really reach the right hand as far as you can, so much so that your face might come to point toward the floor in this way as your right shoulder dips down toward the floor, right? So we're trying to get that right shoulder down as far as it can, reaching the right arm past before you open the right hand up, right? There's a wall in my way, but you hopefully have space on both sides of you so that you can extend that right arm all the way out to a T shape at shoulder height and allow that right shoulder to settle down onto the floor on the right side of your body. Right, so we're coming in for this full supine twist, allowing that right shoulder its full opportunity to settle to the floor. Right, often we keep the right shoulder kind of hovering. Right? And then from here, we're going to transition, closing that right arm back out, coming back to that fetal position, and extending the right arm past so that the right shoulder dips back down toward the floor. Maybe the head turns back down so that the face is on the floor. Right, and then as you feel ready on your inhale, you're lifting that right arm back open to this T shape before coming back to an exhale, closing. All right, so it's just kind of an opening and closing shape. I'm transitioning to the wall here. You're staying on the floor, right? I'm just showing you on the wall so you can see a little better, right? Like you're looking at me from above. If you imagine the wall is the floor. Right, so on the exhale, I'm closing out my shoulder, extending the right shoulder past, letting that right hand reach further than the left. And on the inhale, I'm opening that right arm, allowing that right shoulder its chance to really settle on the floor. Maybe even your gaze follows your hand as you open and close this arm, right? Really allowing yourself that chance to let the shoulder travel toward the floor on either direction. So if this opening and closing shape feels really good to you, you can keep doing this, right? But otherwise, we're going to move on and start to draw these circles around, right? So on the inhale, you're moving your right arm up and overhead, trying to stay in contact with the floor with the back of your hand, the back of your wrist as much as you can. If there's props in your way, go ahead and slide those props out of the way so that you can really allow your right arm this opportunity to travel all the way around. On the exhale, you can close that arm out like you did before, like closing a book, or you can slide that right arm all the way back around, completing that half circle the other direction. Right? So you just kind of play with what feels best in your body, how you want to maybe vary your version of this movement. And the goal here is to really try to keep as much of the arm, as much of the back of the arm, the back of the hand, the back of the wrist, touching the floor as you go around in these half circles. All right, and you're moving slow here. So I'm going to show you on the wall again, but you're staying on the floor, right? It's just this kind of opening shape. Back of the hand stays touching as long as you can. Once you can get the whole back of the arm touching, you're sliding the whole back of the arm. All right, and you might be moving with the rhythm of your breath. An exhale to close out back to that fetal position, and an inhale to open back out to that supine twist shape. Right, and you're really trying to keep the backs of the shoulders on the floor as much as you can, sliding along the floor with the whole right arm. Maybe the arm even comes all the way down toward the right hip as you go. Right, and then as it comes back overhand, maybe you just come straight to that T shape, or maybe you come all the way down toward the left hip as well. All right, so you just kind of choose how big you want to go with these arm circles, paying most attention to if the back of the hand, back of the wrist, and eventually back of the entire arm, back of the right shoulder, staying in contact with the floor once you get to that supine twist shape. Right, you're moving relatively slow. The pace I'm going at might be even a little faster than you want to go. Right, you're trying to just get into as much of that shoulder joint as you can, right? By using your muscles rather than your momentum, right? So moving slower can be better to avoid using your momentum. So if this is feeling really great for you, you can keep doing more of these, right? You could pause the video and keep going with a few more of these if these are feeling wonderful for you. If you're ready to move on, we're going to meet in fetal position and then roll back to your back. And then from your back, you're going to roll straight to your second side, right? So I'm just switching so that I can show you, right? But you just stay where you are and just roll straight over to your right side, coming to that fetal position on your right side. All right, so from here, we're just doing the second side, grabbing the left ankle and starting to hug that left heel in toward your left buttock, inviting in that quad stretch on your second side. You might stay like this with the bottom knee, bottom arm bent for a little more of a restful shape. Or you might start to extend the bottom leg for a little bit more of a balance component. Maybe you even stay there, or maybe you extend the bottom arm as well, inviting in more of that balance component. All right, so you can stay like this, just inviting in that quad stretch, or you can start to kick the foot into the hand, inviting more of a shoulder opener. Right, you just see what feels best in your body. What feels better to you? Don't necessarily do what's seems like it's more challenging, right? Do what feels good. If you want more of a quad stretch, you could bring your left heel outside your left hip. Just make sure you don't lift the knee away from your right knee. You want to keep the knees in line with each other. So we're just going to spend another long breath here in whatever shape, whatever version of this shape you want to be in. From here, we're going to transition back to your fetal position and extend your bottom arm, your right arm out in front of you, palm facing up. Left hand sandwiches on top and then starts to reach and extend past the right hand. Right? Maybe your face turns toward the floor. You're extending that left shoulder so much down toward the floor. And as you're ready on the inhale, that left hand opens like a book. Right, coming to rest toward the left side of your mat in that supine twist. All right, so again, it's an exhale to close like a book. The left shoulder extends past the right, reaching that left hand as far as you can past, so much so that your face might even turn toward the floor. And then on the inhale, you'll lift that left hand back up. Extend it all the way out to the floor on the left side, right? Ideally, no wall there, right? You've got space on both sides so that you can extend that left arm all the way out, right? I'm going to show you so you can see on the wall again, but you're staying on the floor, right? So you want to really allow that left shoulder its chance to settle down when you come through the supine twist. A lot of times I see a lifted shoulder, right? That left shoulder doesn't get its full chance to settle down. So make sure that you're really letting it soften, maybe even turn your gaze and follow the hand as you come through that opening and closing shape of the arm, right? And pay attention to what that left shoulder is doing, right? Really allow the left shoulder its full opportunity to descend down toward the floor as you close and as you open, right? So we're going to do a couple more of these if these are feeling great for you, right? Or if you're ready to move on, you can start to come through those half circles. And if you are doing those half circles now, you're trying to keep that left hand attached to the floor as much as you can, right? Really dragging along the floor. And I have a wall in my way in the video, but you don't, right? You want to have room on both sides of you, moving any props out of the way if there's something in your way, so that you can fully drag that left hand on the floor as much as you can and keep both shoulders in contact with the floor as much as you can, especially when you open to that supine twist. Right? So you might be following the rhythm of your breath, an exhale to close or an inhale to open. I'm going to move to the wall again just so that you can see, but you're staying on the floor, right? So you're just opening and closing this arm, moving through these half circles, transitioning through that fetal position shape and that supine twist shape. Right? You want to keep the hand in contact with the floor as much as you can. Back of the hand, back of the wrist, back of the arm, back of the shoulder as well. You might even lower the left hand all the way toward the left hip. Basically just making this movement your own, right? Staying in contact with the floor as much as you can as you drag your left hand around. But you choose kind of what distance you go on either side when you feel ready to open or close. Right? We're moving slow so that you're using your muscles rather than your momentum. And you choose how far you want the arm to go around. Do what feels comfortable. Maybe you're moving at the pace of your breath, inhaling to open and exhaling to close. Or maybe you're moving at a slower pace than that, right? You see what feels best in your body. And taking your time, if you want to keep doing this, you're welcome to pause the video and keep doing this, right? But if you're ready to move on, we're going to meet in fetal position and then roll slowly back to your back. Come through the center of your mat and hug your knees back into your chest. You might rock, you might circle the knees once again, massaging your low back in any way that feels best for you to reset here. Taking your time before you either roll off to one side or rock up with your momentum to a seat. You'll cross your legs under you, make your way to your tabletop, perhaps using a blanket as padding under the knees, right? Or a towel if you have that, right? And once you arrive in your tabletop, you want your wrists shoulder width stacked under your shoulders, your knees stacked under your hips, hip width. And from here, we're going to move through cat-cows and inhale to lift the chin, the tailbone, let the belly hang heavy toward the floor. And exhale to hug the belly in toward your spine, tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone. Right, moving through these two shapes with the rhythm of your own breath. And inhale to arch through your cow pose. And an exhale to round through your cat pose. Right, aiming to keep your breath slow and full so that the movement would follow slow and full. And if you want to stay with these structured cat-cows, that's great. Structure is a great place to stay if that's what you're craving right now. But you're also welcome if you want more fluidity to invite in other shapes, maybe figure eights of the hips or circles or really any movement that feels like it might be serving you the best right now. Right? Try not to think too hard about what you're doing. Right? If you want that movement, that freedom, you're just flowing in your body in whatever ways your hips, your spine, your neck, your shoulders might be calling to you to do so. Maybe some side-to-side motion. Right? You might be using my movement to draw inspiration, or you might find it more beneficial to just close your eyes, right? And get into the intuition of what your body is most wanting or needing, right? There's no right or wrong here. You could be doing barrel rolls, bending your elbows, coming down a level or up. Maybe you come down to your elbows. Lift feet, circle wrists, ankles. All right, you're just moving in whatever way your body is telling you it wants to move. Let this movement be intuitive, spontaneous, trying to turn off the mind, thoughts. Just let the movement flow through you, bringing more body awareness to this practice through just letting the body move. However, it might want to move. Again, closing the eyes can really help to get into this more intuitive side. There's really no right or wrong. If you're alone at home, then who's even watching, right? Just do what feels best. If you have a sudden urge to do something, just do it. Don't think too hard about it. All right, so we're going to move in this way a little bit longer. If you want to move even longer than I am, you're welcome once again to pause. All right, come through any more play that you want to here. Right, maybe switching sides if you're doing one side of something, switching directions if you have a certain direction of circling that you're doing. So take your time. Only when you're ready, you're going to meet in your tabletop position and then bring your hands one hand length forward. Right, from here we're going to press into your fingers, widespread and flat, index fingers parallel to each other. Press more into your fingertips, right? This means I want you to take the weight out of your wrist by lengthening through your wrists, right? Weight in the fingers. From here, you're going to tuck the toes, press back to your downward facing dog. Right? From here, we're going to pedal out in your first downward dog, bending one knee at a time as you press the opposite heel toward the earth. Maybe you shake out your head, nodding yes, shaking no, to release the neck, let the head hang heavy. For those of us who are really mobile in our shoulders, be careful not to cave in the shoulders. You want to stay nice and active and engaged in the shoulders, strong external rotation through the shoulders, not this dipping of the shoulder girdle. Okay, from our downward facing dog shape, we're going to bend the knees, gaze forward at the hands, step or hop your feet up toward your hands, and come up to a halfway lift. Hands to shins, lengthen your spine. On your next exhale, you're going to fold. Right? So you stay facing forward toward the front of your mat like you see here in the video with me. I'm just going to turn my body so that you can see a little better. Right? But you're going to stay facing forward. Right? So from here, we're going to just stay in our forward fold. So in your first forward fold of the day, you can measure 2 fists between your feet. That's hip distance. And then make sure the outer edges of your feet are parallel to each other. So that's the pinky running all the way to the heel line, parallel to each other. This usually means that the toes end up pigeon-toed slightly in towards center. Right, from here we want to make sure the knees are bent enough that the belly is in contact with the thighs, right? This relieves any pressure in the low back. This is a stretch for your legs, not your low back. So make sure your knees are bent enough that your belly touches your thighs. From here we might just stay with the arms hanging, or we might grab opposite elbows to add a little extra weight to the torso. Maybe you sway like a ragdoll side to side to more effectively let the torso run down the length of the legs, falling like a waterfall down. Likewise, you might shake out the head to release the neck, really release anything holding that you might be doing. All right, we're going to keep the head heavy, the arms heavy, the knees bent as you rise nice and slow, one vertebra at a time, all the way up to standing. Head stays heavy. It's the last thing to rise. And once you do find that standing position, you'll bring your arms out to the sides wide and up. Exhale, draw your hands down the midline through your heart center. Inhale, extend the arms back out wide and up. Exhale, cactus the arms back. Hug the belly in. Keep the front ribs squeezing. We tend to splay the front ribs when we open our shoulders, so make sure that stays hugging in. As you now squeeze the elbows down, like you're going to touch them behind your low back, right? That's not actually possible, but we're trying to get the elbows as close as we can, squeezing toward the low back behind your body. All the while, the front ribs stay hugging in so that you keep this engagement, this hugging in of the front ribs. Next, inhale from here, arms will reach back up toward the sky. Exhale, fold forward with a flat back. Inhale, lengthen through your spine, hands to shins, flat back. Exhale, sweep the floor with your fingertips. Rise to your chair pose. Knees bent, hips sit back toward the floor, and feet stay hip distance. Therefore, knees stay hip distance. You don't want the knees coming in, caving in toward each other. Likewise, you could have feet together, knees together. You just want the feet and the knees to be doing the same thing. Right? So on the inhale, we're reaching up. On the exhale, we're sitting back deeper into our chair. Gaze over your knees. Can you see your toes? Right? Make sure that you can see your toes over your knees. Inhale, find more length through the spine. Exhale, sit back a little deeper. One more inhale, find length through the spine. Exhale, hands come through your heart. On your next inhale, interlace your fingers, press your palms up. Exhale, release the fingers, interlace behind your back, palms come to touch, right? So you want to make sure that your palms stay touching here in this interlace. One more inhale, find length through the spine. You've got this. Exhale, sit back deeper. Inhale, find length. Exhale, fold. Maybe the hands hang overhead, right? Allowing the torso to fall down the length of the legs, the knees to be bent enough that the belly rests, relax, right? And make sure that the palms stay touching. So rather than separating like that, you want to keep the palms touching each other as you fold, right? The arms only come up overhead as much as feels comfortable for you. Don't hyperextend through the elbows. And then on the next inhale, you're going to bring your hands back by your tailbone. Find a halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Maybe you sway side to side like a rag doll, shaking out the head, releasing. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands come to your shins, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Right? From here, you're going to get a block, right, or a book or whatever might be helpful to bring the floor up to you. Plant your left hand flat on the block, palm flat, bend your left knee, and reach your right hand up toward the sky for a twist. On your next exhale, the left hand will come back down to the floor, palm flat, left knee bends, right arm opens for that twist on your second side. Try to lengthen the right leg as much as you can. And follow this same movement with the rhythm of your own breath. Each time you exhale, plant a hand and that same knee to bend. Each time you inhale, lifting up toward the sky. And the next time you inhale to lift your left hand up toward the sky, you'll exhale, come back through center. Remove any block that you might have out of the way. Come to a forward fold before you inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins, lengthen your spine. Inhale, fold, plant your hands, step your right foot back, warrior two. Right heel should draw a line to the arch of your left foot such that both feet are in one line with each other, like you're standing on a balance beam. Okay, from here your arms come out to a T, palms facing down. Lengthen through the spine, through the crown of the head. Soften the shoulders toward the floor. Inhale to lengthen through the spine such that maybe you gaze forward toward the left side of the room first, both hips pointing toward that left side of the room before you turn your gaze over your right hand. Right? Then from here, you're going to keep the right knee bent where it is. Right? If you notice that the right knee is coming past the right ankle, then make sure you extend that right foot a little further out so that you can have the knee stacked right over the ankle before you reverse your warrior. Right? So you're sending this right hand back toward the back wall behind you, maintaining the bend in your right knee and keeping the whole right side of your chest open here. Right, we tend to cave in on the right side of the body, so make sure that you stay open here in the chest, lengthening through the right side body, breathing more space in between each of your right side ribs. And using your right arm to traction the spine open on that right side. From here, we're going to come back to a T on the exhale, straighten the front leg, reach the shoulders forward, not down, but forward, and set up for your triangle pose. Maybe your right hand comes to your shin, or maybe you grab a block to bring the floor closer to you. Avoid this right knee hyperextending. Right? Sometimes if we're hypermobile, we extend the knee a little too far. So maybe you keep a micro bend in that right knee as you lift the left arm up toward the sky, open through the left side of the chest here. Keep the left thigh open so that you're starting to stack the hips, stack the shoulders in this triangle pose. All right? You're lengthening through the spine, through the crown of the head, pressing into the left pinky edge side of your left foot and lifting the left arch of the foot here. On your next inhale, you'll bend the right knee, rise back through that warrior two shape. Lift the back heel so that you can pivot forward so that the knee and the ankle travel together. Move any block you might have out of the way and come to your crescent lunge. Arms reach up and overhead. Right? The back heel is lifted. You can always come down to the back knee if you're wanting a little more stability here, or you can stay up in your crescent lunge. Inhale, find more length through the spine. Exhale, cactus the arms back. Keep the front ribs hugging in, right? We tend to overarch in the low back here and splay the front ribs forward, so keep those front ribs hugging in even as the arms come back. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, interlace the fingers behind your back. Make sure that palms are touching just like we had them before. Shoulders roll back. Avoid those front ribs splaying, right? Keep them hugging in, nice and engaged in the core, even while the shoulders roll back. Again, you can always come down to the back knee if you're feeling like you want to do that instead. And from here, you're going to exhale to start to hinge at the hips and rest the right side of the body, the right shoulder, on your right thigh, and bring the crown of the head, the top of the head, toward the floor. The arms only come up overhead after you're getting the crown of the head coming toward the floor, and only as much as feels okay for your shoulders. No need to hyperextend the elbows. As you're ready from here, on your inhale, your hands will come back by your tailbone. You'll rise back through your crescent lunge or your low lunge. Release the interlace. Bring the hands to frame your foot and step back to your plank. Right? From your plank, you're going to lower with control. Maybe you're on plank on your knees. You want to land so your belly and chest land at the same time. Tops of the feet press into the floor. Inhale, lift from behind your heart for your cobra. Exhale, maybe you press back up through your plank. Belly and chest rise at the same time before you press back to your downward facing dog. And then sit back to your child's pose. Knees wide, big toes might touch, hips sit back toward the heels, arms extend forward, and forehead comes to the floor or a block. Right. Take a moment here in your child's pose to catch your breath. Maybe grab a drink of water if you're needing a drink of water. Right. Check back in with how you're doing, where you're at. Notice if you feel like that was too much effort. Do less on the second side if you felt like you pushed it too hard on the first side. Right? Only when you feel ready, you'll meet back on your tabletop. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And then from your tabletop, you're going to keep the hips stacked over the knees just like they are and walk the hands forward and wide for your puppy pose. Forehead comes to the mat or a black. Hips stay stacked over the knees. Arms extend forward in such a way that the elbows remain lifted off the floor, but the armpits begin to mount toward the earth. Your belly hangs heavy between the thighs down toward the floor. And you're checking in here with your breath once again. Stay in your puppy pose as long as you like. Only when you're ready, taking your time, moving slowly, you're going to first start in your tabletop, walk the hands one hand length forward, and then press back to your downward facing dog. Maybe you're pedaling out here again in your downward facing dog. Maybe you're ready to find stillness. And just checking in with your shoulder alignment, making sure you're not caving in this way that sometimes us hypermobile yogis tend to do, this caving in. Instead, we want this engagement of the shoulders and external rotation, bringing the eyes of the elbows or the elbow creases up toward the sky. And then from here, we're going to bend the knees, gaze forward at the hands, step or hop your feet to your hands, halfway lift. Hands come to your shins, lengthen through your spine. Exhale, fold, sweep the floor with your fingertips, rise to your chair pose. Right? From your chair pose, you're inhaling to find length through the spine, hug the belly in, the front ribs in, avoiding that low back arch that we tend to get in your chair pose. And then exhaling to sit back a little deeper. Right. On your next inhale, find more length. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Inhale, find that length once again. Exhale, twist to the left. All right, from here, we sometimes want to just immediately hook the right elbow outside the left knee, but better to maintain this more upright spine and focus instead on the legs, bringing this right knee back. Sometimes we tend to twist and also send the right knee forward, so you want to make sure that the right knee is in line with the left. Next, inhale, come back through center. Exhale, twist to the right. Again, focus on that left knee. Prevent it from coming forward. Pull the left hip back. Keep the knees in line. Inhale to find length through center. Exhale, fold forward. Right, maybe we heel toe the feet a little wider so that you have more room to sway side to side here in your ragdoll, your forward fold. And then from here, we'll inhale, halfway lift. Hands come to your shins, lengthen your spine. Exhale, plant hands. Step left foot back, warrior two on your second side. In this shape, you want to check in again that your right heel is in line with your left arch. You're rolling your right thigh back and sending both hips to point toward the wall to your left. Arms come out to a T. Inhale, find length through your spine, through the crown of your head. Exhale, gaze over your right fingertips. Inhale, turn that right palm up, reverse your warrior, sending that right hand overhead and keeping the bend in the right knee, right? That front knee stays bent as you reach the top arm overhead, right? Extending that right arm up and over toward the back wall and making sure this whole right side of your body stays open. You're breathing space in between your right side ribs, lengthening through that side and keeping that right side of the chest open. Exhale, come back through the warrior two, straighten the front leg. Make sure you don't hyperextend in that front knee as you start to reach your arms forward for that triangle pose. Right, rather than coming straight down to start, you want to reach forward with that arm so that you have more space to lengthen through your spine and keep that length on the right side of the body as you reach the left hand up and toward the sky. Right? So you're opening through the left thigh, the left side of the chest remains open, so that you're stacking the hips over each other, stacking the shoulders over each other, and maintaining that same lengthening through the spine, the hugging of the belly, the front ribs in here in this triangle pose. Right, on your next inhale, you'll come up through your arms at a T, move the block out of the way if it's in the way. Lift the back heel and pivot so that you make your way toward that crescent lunge or low lunge. Right? Whatever feels better for your balance right now in this moment. You'll inhale, find length through the spine. Exhale, cactus the arms. Keep the front ribs hugging, the belly engaged so the low back stays neutral. Inhale, lift back up through the arms. Exhale, cactus the arms back further. And see if you can squeeze the elbows back so much so that you can imagine that you might touch the elbows behind your low back while still hugging the front ribs in, right? As the shoulders start to reach back, a lot of times the front ribs start to splay forward, so keep the front ribs hugging in even as you bring the elbows back and then the hands to interlace behind the back. Right, shoulders roll back, keep the belly hugging in. Always that option to come down to the back knee and untuck the back foot, or to stay up as you come through your humble warrior, that left shoulder coming inside the left thigh, and the crown of the head falling toward the earth. Again, focus more on the crown of the head coming toward the earth rather than how much your arms come up and overhead. Keep the palms touching as you bring the arms overhead. On your next inhale, your hands will come back by your tailbone as you lift back up. You'll exhale, release the interlace, bring the hands to frame your front foot, step back, and maybe flow through that chaturanga, right? Maybe you come through an up dog, this time the arms straight, and only balanced on the tops of your feet, right? So you might not be able to tell very well, but this would be down on your legs, right? You're actually on the tops of your feet only in up dog. You might even roll over the toes to make your way back to your downward facing dog, or just tuck one toe at a time. We'll all meet in your child's pose. Knees might be wide, big toes to touch. Hips sit back toward the heels. Arms extend forward. Forehead comes to the floor or a block. Take a moment to reset. Find any water break or other resting things that you need. Check in with your breath. And only when you're ready, take your time. You'll meet back in your tabletop before you crawl the arms forward, making your way toward your Sphinx pose. So in your Sphinx pose, you want your forearms planted parallel to each other, the hands planted on the floor so that they're the same width as your elbows, right? So you want the elbows to be planted in such a way that they're directly under the shoulders. If you look at me, I'm just turning so that you can see that basically you want the elbows to be directly under the shoulders, drawing a straight line down from the shoulder to the elbow rather than this wider shape that a lot of people tend to do. So have a look at your elbows and then see if you can get the hands slightly splayed wider than the elbows. All right, so elbows are shoulder width, hands are wider than that. Okay, from here we're going to press the inner wrist crease down, right? The side of the wrist closer to the thumbs, right? And then we're going to lengthen behind the heart. Press the tops of the feet into the floor. Press the pelvis down into the floor. Keep the feet wide if you feel that there's any pressure in the low back, or bring the feet closer together if you feel like you have more space. From here, we're going to exhale, hug your chin in toward your chest, and start to roll the neck side to side, just turning your gaze over each shoulder, and maybe moving with the rhythm of your own breath here. Right, so an exhale to tuck the chin in, and an inhale to gaze over each shoulder. Right, all the while you're keeping the inner wrist pressed down into the floor, the pelvis pressed down into the floor. You're moving softly through these neck rolls, and you might stay doing that, just rolling the neck out and staying in your Sphinx pose. If you feel that your spine is quite open and you want to try lifting the elbows slightly, you can. If you feel any pressure in the low back, just come back down, right? But if seal feels okay for you here, you can stay in seal, starting to straighten the arms further, or maybe walking the hands slightly away if that would feel more comfortable for you. Hands can be wider than shoulders here. Right. On your next exhale, you're going to wave down. Bring the elbows out wide, the hands stack on top of each other. Your forehead plants on your hands. Bend your knees and softly windshield wiper your feet right and left. On your next exhale, you'll release the feet back to the floor. You'll bring your arms to your sides, palms facing up. Turn one cheek to the mat. From here, just take a moment to rest. Notice where your breath is. Soften your shoulders, your belly. Soften everything into your mat like you're laying on a beach towel. Just totally releasing, melting into your mat. Only when you're ready, you'll turn your forehead through center. We're going to prepare for locust by first starting with lifting just the legs, right? So you're lifting your legs as high as you can. Maybe you lift the thighs as well. The upper body stays on the floor, your forehead stays on the floor. You just lift the legs and then exhale to lower back down, right? If that felt okay, we're going to inhale to lift just the upper body now, right? So your head lifts, your torso lifts, your arms lift. You're lengthening from behind your heart, not lifting your head to gaze forward, but keeping the gaze down underneath you on the mat. Exhale, wave down. Notice how that felt. If that felt okay, then you're going to come to full locust, right? If not, just stay resting. You can come back to that beach towel. But if you're feeling okay, we're inhaling to lift from behind the heart and lifting the legs. Maybe the thighs lift as well. You're pressing the belly into the floor, and the more you press the belly, the more you can lift up. You're exhaling to wave back down, turning the opposite cheek to the floor, perhaps bending the knees and windshield wiping your feet right and left. Releasing, letting go. Right, if that felt too intense or your low back is bothering you in any way, skip this next one. Just stay laying on that wonderful, lovely beach towel. If you're feeling like it felt okay for you to do that and you want to try this next variation of locust, you can bring the tops of the feet back to the floor, bring the arms out in front of you like Superman arms. Extended forward, forehead just still comes to the floor. And from here, we're going to do the same thing only with the arms in front of you. So you'll inhale to lift, legs, arms, torso. The more you engage your belly, pressing the belly into the floor, the more you can lift. And you're not turning the gaze up toward the front of the room, right? You're keeping your gaze down so that the back of the neck can stay nice and long. And then as you're ready, you're lowering arms, legs, bringing the arms back by your sides, perhaps turning the opposite cheek to the mat, bending the knees and windshield wiping the feet right and left. Right. Staying with these windshield wipers as long as you like, as long as it might feel good for you. And then as you're ready, you'll press back to your child's pose. Perhaps the knees are wide, big toes to touch, arms extended forward as you sit the hips back toward the heels, the forehead to the mat or a block. Checking in with your breath and taking your time. Only when you're ready, you'll rise through your tabletop, crawl forward to the front of your mat, cross your legs under, come to sit down at the front of your mat. From here, you'll bring your hands to your thighs and lift the feet so that your shins are parallel to the floor, right? This is a modified boat pose. We want to start here in modified boat so that you can focus on puffing the chest up toward the sky and rolling your shoulders back. You may stay here if you feel like this is kind of like your max effort, right? If you're shaking here, then stay here. If you feel that this is a little too easy, you may bring your arms out to the sides, palms facing each other. Again, focusing on your chest staying puffed up toward the sky and your shins parallel to the floor, the shoulders rolling back. Maybe you start to straighten the legs if that feels like you're there. Clearly, I'm not there right now, so I'm going to stay in this more modified boat pose, right? But you meet yourself where you are and just focus on the chest staying puffed up toward the sky. Right? The shoulders stay back. Chest keeps puffing toward the sky. Right? From here, we're going to exhale, bring the feet to the floor, and imagine they're cemented there on the floor as you start to lower nice and slow all the way down to your mat, right? Trying to keep those feet touching as you lower slowly all the way to your back. Once you've made your way to your back, you're going to hug your knees into your chest, rocking side to side, maybe circling the knees if that would feel good, just massaging your low back any way you like. Maybe you switch the direction of the knee circles. From here, we're taking any other shapes or movements that you like. Maybe you want a supine pigeon, crossing one ankle over the opposite knee to open the hips a bit here. Maybe you want some supine twists, right? Just really taking any other movements or shapes that might be calling to you to round out your practice before you settle in to a shape of choice on your back that feels most comfortable for you in Shavasana, your final resting pose. Right? So there's some time here to do whatever feels like it might be nice to round out. Right? If you have any other movements or shapes calling to you. When you are ready, you may gather some props. If you feel like it's a little chilly in the room, you might lay a blanket over your body for a little added warmth, or maybe you bring a folded blanket under your head as a pillow just to lift the head slightly above the heart. Just make sure that the blanket's under your head, not your shoulders, so that when you do lay down, you can roll your shoulders away from your ears. Allow the body to settle, to soften, letting the bones get heavy, relaxed and content, letting go of any control. There's nothing left to do. And turning your mind's eye inward. beginning to invite your awareness back into your body. Inviting in a deeper breath, and small movements. Maybe you wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe you circle your wrists and your ankles. As you feel ready, reach your arms up overhead to stretch long both directions. Bend your knees, roll over to your right side, using your right arm as a pillow. Take a moment in that fetal position, curled in a ball, and using the right arm as a pillow to check in with that message you sent out to the world at the beginning of your practice, or perhaps any intention or dedication you may have had. Or perhaps you simply just send gratitude to the earth for supporting you, whether or not you notice it there. On your next inhale, as you feel ready, you'll press your hands into the floor, using the strength of your arms to come up to a seat. Finding any seated position that feels most comfortable for you, perhaps sitting up on a blanket or block. And bringing your shoulders to roll back and your hands to your heart. Inhale to lift your chest. Exhale to bow your chin to your chest. The light within me sees, honors, and reflects the light within you. Namaste.